At Model UN, students simulate the United Nations, the speeches, the debates, the negotiations. But the United Nations isn't just about governments and processes, it's about people. The UN was created to help people, and it's also made up of people. UN diplomats and staff work hard to make our world a better place, and their stories can give Model UN participants a better picture of what the UN is really about. That is why the UN Department of Global Communications launched the Real United Nations, an interactive briefing series for Model UNs. Through the Real United Nations, diverse panels of UN staff and diplomats talk to Model UN clubs and conferences at high schools and universities. Model UN students usually research the UN, but hearing from people who actually work there gives them a very real connection to the organization that they're studying. For UN staff and diplomats, it's an opportunity to move out of their offices and into the communities they are meant to serve.
As a Model UNer, week in and week out, we practice and debate in this United Nations fashion, but we truly never know what the real life story of it is. And I feel like through the Real UN, I finally find out what real United Nations workers do.
It was an incredible opportunity to speak with employees at the United Nations, especially after years of simulating their own work.
Seeing that there's a new generation of people interested in the UN was great, and I think it was good for them to see that the UN consists of real people like us. I think it's important for young people to hear directly from us what it's like to work at the UN. What you sometimes see in the papers, what you see in the news may not give a very realistic picture.
I've been in Model UN for the past 3 years now, but I've never learned anything about the real UN. I've never gotten the opportunity to meet and talk to a UN employee. And these are the kind of really personal stories that I would have never gotten to know if I had just done research online or read a book.
I personally had a great experience being able to talk to young female students who asked questions about what it meant to be a woman working at the United Nations. It really gives us an opportunity to learn what young people are thinking about, what their concerns are for the future.
It's also important that we also inspire them to perhaps one day join the United Nations or to become a citizen that is thoughtful and at the same time have empathy. These will help strengthen your community, your countries, and eventually the United Nations.
I was really able to understand how they dealt with some issues that might have troubled us in a Model UN meeting. That kind of helped me to really get a better picture of what these people are doing on their day-to-day.
Estuve muy impresionada por las preguntas que nos hicieron, que para mí son un reflejo de cómo nos ve la gente joven, que es muy importante para nuestro trabajo. También pienso que es importante seguir motivándolos porque el grupo de jóvenes en este momento y el rol que ellos pueden jugar en la implementación de la Agenda 2030 es muy importante.
At today's Real UN briefing, I learned the importance of what we do now currently in the Model UN and how that can essentially basically form a career if that's what I choose, and the importance of putting your own personal opinions aside when dealing with real global conflicts and being open to new ideas and new perspectives.
I think the Real UN program is an excellent way to reach out to youth, to let them know about what the UN does and what the UN, more importantly, cannot do. The students were really engaged and it felt great to know that young people really care about international issues. I also think that this is an important thing that the Real UN does because the youth of today need to know about issues that matter to them, that will matter for their future.
Aprendimos acerca de lo que está pasando detrás de las escenas en las Naciones Unidas, qué es lo que se necesita para hallar soluciones a los problemas que están pasando alrededor del mundo.
I knew about the goals of the UN, but I didn't know what people did there on a day-to-day basis or how it was run. I learned a lot about how I could get involved and help the sustainable development goals and be active within my community.
When I walked into my weekly Model UN meeting and I saw these real people from the Real UN that I've been simulating for years come in and talk to me about what it was like to really be doing the work that I'd been rehearsing for so long, it was really an eye-opener on how much of a difference those people make and how important their jobs actually are. And it really inspired me to want to do more work in the real UN and try and really put the skills that I've learned in Model UN to the test, possibly as like an internship or maybe even a job in the future.
My UN journey started with Model UN conferences, where students get to play the role of diplomats and try to solve real-world issues. We had a chance to meet with students from different cultures and backgrounds and had a frank discussion on what it is like to work for the UN. And in fact, it reminded me of the reason why I wanted to join the UN in the first place, to make a difference.
Oftentimes in the Model UN, you get to simulate committee and do the work, but you never think about the people who are there negotiating and cooperating towards consensus. So today, getting to talk to UN employees was rewarding and an interesting experience. We think about the work they do and how they do it all the time, but we never delve into the backgrounds of the people and their paths.
I really appreciate the support and the honesty that these UN employees gave to me when they came to my school today. It's really inspirational.
Cool program, keep doing it.